Greetings once again, Realm of Progeny. Welcome to another The More You Know podcast with the voice.
The Felly. I wonder if you're a real voice or am I talking to a voice inside my head?
Oh, no, I'm real. Come on over here a little closer and I'll show you.
Oh, wow. That's the invite I was waiting for. Ouch. Dang it. You didn't have to do that. Dang. Yes, indeed, folks. She is real. And the voice is. Oh, I'm not telling y'all nothing. But I will say, we are a couple. A couple of vampies doing a podcast.
Yes, we are. Belly, let's get on with this, okay? Today we're talking the life and death of emotion. So, in previous podcasts, we learned how to write emotion and how to get it on the agenda.
But now we need to know what happens to it once it's there. Starting to think about old Bill again.
Oh, don't you do it, Felly. My goodness, I cannot dress you up and take you anywhere. So we already know how emotion has to get to a scribe first to be on the agenda, and that the chair will call on the writer to present their motion. We also know that motions must be discussed at the COH level first to get a sponsor to be able to go to the GCSC.
Yeah, we know. I was watching and paying attention. I took notes too. And to add on to that, we know that there are exceptions to that rule. Like if the motion is only for the GCSE, like PLS matters or war matters.
Wow, fella, you were paying attention. Now, see, I told you I was real. Also, after a motion is made via 3 simple words, I move that. Any member with a proposal for the group to consider, whether it is a main motion or procedural, should simply seek recognition by the chairperson. When recognized, they say, I move that.
I like to move it, move it. I like to move it, move it. I like to move it.
No, Felly, not right now.
Hmm.
Okay, so Felly, maybe you'll get a solo a little bit later.
Woo.
Okay, so let's continue. It starts its process, its life, so to say. Motion is made, someone will second it, consideration, and then motion disposed. A second is simply an indication by another member that the motion just made is worthy of the group's time.
Exactly. Once another member seconds the motion, the chairperson should repeat it back to the group, indicating that the idea as proposed is available for consideration by the group, meaning it's go time. It is time for debate. If no one seconds it, the chair should ask if there's a second. Now, sometimes people are so passionate about a topic, sometimes these steps are missed. There's no reason to get all upset, but yeah, sometimes even the chair gets excited and misses some steps. So you have to decide if this is a step that is really worth pointing out if missed. The motion is going to get debated anyway, so there's no reason to point this out to a chair. You don't want to get on the chair's bad side. They might send a knight after you.
Oh, yeah, they might, but that's only if the knights are not out looking for that elusive kitty cat. Here, kitty.
Meow.
Ellie, consideration could include debate, requests for table, postponements, and amendments. Debating the motions. Number 1, listen to the other side. Number 2, focus on the issues, not the personalities. Number 3, avoid questioning the motives. And 4, be polite. Above all, we should be polite. So, yes, Felly, I would like for you to be polite. And you need to listen and not sing. So, to debate whether to speak or against a motion, you should do it politely.
So, setting a motion on fire, is that polite? I'm asking for a friend.
I think we have to have you frisk before meetings from now on, Felly.
Another question. Will you be doing the said frisking? Asking again for a friend.
Well, now that depends on if the knights are hunting the elusive cat. As it is, their job to do the frisking. Anyway, let's carry on, Felly. The chair will call upon these wishing to speak in order. Sometimes the chair might even call upon the writer to respond if a question is asked. Debate must be confined to the merits of the motion. So that being said, remember once again, the COH is only a think tank for the GCSC. Motions will not be amended at COH levels unless it is a motion for the COH only. It is still important to know the rules for amending no matter the meeting.
There's different types of amendments that one might do. Adding word or words, striking out a word or words, taking out whole paragraphs, adding whole paragraphs, substituting words even. This is why I guess listening is a great idea, because people might just have great ideas to make a motion work. Maybe that fire option isn't needed. I'm just going to write that down, for a friend. So, whoever wants to amend the motion must include what to amend to, not just that it needs amending.
Okay, Felly, so let's play with the odor motion. The motion is currently this. I hereby motion that all must wash up with actual soap and water, put on clean clothes prior to coming to this council. The penalty for failure to adhere to this rule is immediate expulsion from the chamber. Lord Doug E. Vampire stands and states, I motion to amend this. And that's all he says.
Well, sit down, Doug. No more out of you.
That's right, Doug. Sit down. Then Lord Grumble stands and says, I motion to amend this motion to read as follows. I hereby motion that all must wash up with actual soap and water. Add some deodorant or some perfume of some sort, as well as put on clean clothes prior to coming to this council. The penalty for failure to adhere to this rule is immediate expulsion from the chamber.
Well, that would be the correct way to motion. Well done, Lord Grumble. I applaud you. All right. So, the motion to amend must be seconded. The chair repeats the amendment and asks if there's any discussion on the amendment. Then there is debate on the amendment. When the discussion ceases, or call the question, a vote is taken on the amendment. The chair can also ask if the writer will accept a friendly amendment instead of the vote. Maybe the writer actually likes the amendment and agrees to it so that there's no vote needed on the amendment. But if there is a vote and it passes, then the motion is amended whether the writer agrees to it or not. The chair will ask any further discussion on this new amended motion, or if the amendment failed, then ask if there's any more discussion on the original motion. Even though the amendment to the motion passes, the main motion can still be defeated by a vote. And even if the amendment fails, the main motion can still pass with a vote. How about that?
So, there are some other motions that can happen to a motion. There is motion to consider by paragraph or a motion to divide the question.
So, motion to consider by paragraph. So say there's a rather long motion with many parts to it, but it's all the same topic. But people are debating different verbiage all throughout it. This motion is a great way to vote on it section by section or part by part. It can get parts agreed on, pass, and then work on the other parts that still need some adjusting. For an example, a full document of rules for a meeting, like our meetings, is the very same topic. What we would do is vote on this motion one rule at a time or one paragraph at a time. When the rules for meetings was actually voted in, it was actually how this was done, through this motion. So the next one is divide the question. When people say the question, that's actually another term for motion because it's a question before the council. Making the motion into two, the person making this motion should have it detailed as to which parts are divided, or the motion is not valid. If the writer agrees, can also withdraw to resubmit it as two motions. Then the separated motions will be voted on separately. This can be done when the motion can stand on its own as two or more separate motions. So, what if the odor motion was like this? I hereby motion that all must wash up with actual soap, put on clean clothes prior to coming to this council. Members should not be wearing orange polka dots, as that is also offensive to the eyes. The penalty for failure to adhere to this rule is immediate expulsion from the chamber. So, Lord Doug jumps up this time with, I motion to divide the question into two motions. Motion number one, I hereby motion that all must wash up with actual soap, put on clean clothes prior to coming to this council, yada, yada, yada. And then, motion number two, I hereby motion that members should not be wearing orange polka dots. That is also offensive to the eyes, yada, yada, yada.
So this is another reason why all main motions should be on the agenda ahead of the meeting so it can be reviewed by all before the meeting and people can plan. So if this amendment is seconded and debated and voted to separate, the motion is now two motions and will be debated and voted on as separate motions. One may pass, one may not. Both may not. Both may pass. If the motion to divide is not passed, then the motion will be debated and voted as it was originally made. So let's talk about motion disposed. It simply refers to making some decisions on the motion. In other words, it's the end result of the motion, whether it is tabled or called to question. All motions must be disposed of before moving on to another motion. Now, to kill a motion, that's where,
Woo!
Felly, you get your torch out. It is absolutely where the fire comes in you were asking about, Felly. So grab that torch.
I'm ready.
Motion to table. To table usually means to postpone or suspend consideration of a pending motion. Mostly this is used when time is running out in a meeting and the motion is tabled until the next meeting. It can kill the main motion without a direct vote or further debate. A time can be set on tabling of the motion or can be indefinitely tabled until a person motions to bring it back to the meeting. So example, I motion to table this matter until the fall of 2025. In fact, killing the motion for a while. Also, side note, did you all know that once a motion has been disposed, it cannot be brought back up for another 6 months? Think on that one, folks. Now the next one is call the question. If call the question is requested by any member, the chair may continue to hear members that had already requested to speak prior to the call. This is to be fair to all members who had already put in requests to speak on the matter. Remember, the chair has full control of who may speak. So to end a debate, immediately, the question is called. Say, I call the question. And that needs a second. A vote is held immediately. No further discussion is allowed, and 2/3 vote is required for passage. This is not a vote on the motion. This is a vote to end the debate and to vote on the motion. The chair will state this fact clearly.
Now remember, folks, if you missed roll call, you must have sent a message to the scribe with your information or your vote will not count. Who can vote? The rules around who can vote is relatively simple, with a couple of exceptions because, we love exceptions. Well, the exception being that if there's a tie, the chair can actually vote. Those that did not announce themselves at roll call or to the scribe prior to the vote cannot vote. Only one vote per house or clan depending on the meeting type is allowed, as only one member should be seated in the gallery and has the ability to speak. Again, a knight might come after you.
So, with the majority rules, majority vote is more than half the votes cast by those present and voting. A 2/3 vote, some motions require 2/3 votes passed. Again, this is 2/3 of those present. If it is passed, the motion on the floor is voted on immediately if in the COH. If it is a COH motion. If in the GCSC, the vote goes to the outer realm 2-week voting system. If it fails, the debate continues or motion can be tabled for further discussion if time is running out.
Okay, so not to beat a dead horse, but I'm going to pull out my bat anyway. Please remember, only motions for the COH get voted on in the COH. The COH is just a think tank for the GCSC. The COH typically will only deal with procedural motions and hearing main motions for the writer to get a sponsor. At COH level, the motions you will be dealing with the most are main motions, of course, just for discussion. Other motions are procedural, like point of order, point of information, and our favorites, motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
That's the favorite one.
It is.
Remember, these processes are designed to ensure that everyone has a chance to participate and to share ideas in an orderly manner. Well, I know I've learned a lot, quite a bit, again. And now you folks know the life and death of a motion. And if you forget, you can also remember that I'm just a bill and I'm sitting on Capitol Hill. Woohoo!
See, Felly, I told you you'd get your solo. You're way too much. Okay, folks. Yes, indeed. There you have it. Thanks for watching the More You Know podcast with the voice.
And the Felly.
So please like and subscribe because you're gonna want to know when we release another.